Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? I'm assembling a reindeer. I've had this for years and I keep forgetting every December to make it. This pink reindeer head I'm going to put up on the wall. And Dave Davis made me a Christmas bunchie that I keep forgetting to download. And it's messed up a little bit, but I got it on clearance somewhere multiple years ago that I keep forgetting to download. Maybe next show I'll have the Christmas bunchie, and Sam Bowler put it on a transparent background for me. So I got all my pieces to my reindeer. I just got to figure out how to put it together now. I'm glad the microphone is better. I don't know what was going on upstairs, so I know all you computer people are going to be like, don't do that. I just hit the hard reset button. I'll turn my computer back on up there when I go, and hopefully that fixes the sound, because I have an LNC meeting tomorrow. I can't have a crappy mic, so I might have to bring one of these studio mics upstairs, and that will be a pain in the ass. I actually have a very good mic up there. It's my old podcasting mic that I used for years and years and years, like a ATR 2250. Anyway, don't know what the problem is, but I guess we'll figure it out. So we're going to be doing ballot access. Before we do that, though, sorry for not scheduling this ahead of time. Running so behind because of all that time I missed being really sick earlier in the week. It's been crazy, but I am catching up. But, being out of it for like 4 days, it could take you a couple weeks to catch up when you pack in as much crap as I do in a day. Let's do the YouTuber stuff, though, before we get started. Where's my glasses? They're on top of my head. I'm getting a damn rash again, too. Like, I break out in hives. And I just noticed that it's starting up again. Stress will do it to you. Okay, so here we go. Let me put that where you can see it, though. It always depends on what background I have. Up there, Asteros, my friend Zach. So this is a cybersecurity service. Been a sponsor of this show for a very long time. Been very, very appreciative of his support. Please show your support. So if you're in need of any kind of cybersecurity consultant, if you own an online business, or you're in charge of some kind of online organization, you are not as secure as you think you are. I think Tyler Hobbs proved that to us all, though Tyler himself got hacked, but you know what I'm saying. So have Asteros give you a free surface penetration audit. My God, that always just sounds so dirty. But anyway, yeah.
It's a scandal, girls.
It really is a scandal. But go to asteros.com/free and take advantage of that offer. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I know Zach would also truly, truly appreciate it. And I've got all these weird prompts coming up on my screen now. No, I don't wish to update my computer in the middle of the stream. What would make you think that, Apple? Okay, so I'm doing the YouTube stuff. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please subscribe. It really, really does help the algorithm. I know libertarians hate subscribing to things, but please do it. Please. Please clap. Also, as most of you already know, you can follow me on all of my social media, which can be sometimes very entertaining on Facebook, Twitter, MeWe when I remember it exists. I'm Karen Ann Harlos everywhere. And lastly, if you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. Okay, yeah, I am a little just distracted because I've got so much work to do, and I am the type of person that likes to be on top of everything. And if I feel like I'm even the slightest bit behind, I just get completely nutty about it. But got the December issue of Ballot Access News. Don't know if we're going to cover it all today, but we can at least start. Now remember, tomorrow there will not be a stream, but there is an LNC meeting. So if you have a Sunday afternoon that you would just love to spend at a meeting. And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to spend their Sunday afternoon at an LNC meeting? Go to lp.org. You can register for the meeting. Come join us. And then immediately after the LNC meeting, I have an LPCO bylaws meeting. It is just going to be an awesome day of meetings for me. I do love this shit. So here we go. Ballot Access News, December 1st, 2022. If you don't know, this comes out by Richard Winger. Please do support Richard's work. You can write him at richardwinger@yahoo.com, and he can tell you how to get a subscription to Ballot Access News. It is $18 a year. It comes out 12 times a year. He is an absolute treasure, and his work is worth supporting. And hello, everyone who's been saying hello. And if you didn't read, though I think most of you have, 2 days ago, I was elected permanent chair. What I mean by permanent is permanent doesn't mean forever. It means for this term. So let me just word it that way. I've been elected the chair of the National Bylaws and Rules Committee for this term. I was the interim chair. When they appoint the committee, the LNC appoints an interim chair who's responsible for setting up the email list, getting members acquainted, and calling the first meeting if they decide to elect at the first meeting. But we generally have been doing elections over OPA vote prior to the first meeting. So that's what happened. Sylvia Arrowwood, a PRP out of South Carolina, is the committee secretary. Now, she hasn't been involved in LP committees before, and we do our own thing. We're libertarians, man. We find ways to make things interesting. Let's just put it that way. So I met with Sylvia right before this meeting. I just got off a meeting with Sylvia to give her the ins and outs of the things that is different on LP committees and what she's probably accustomed to, and some of the other organizations she's been a secretary at. And, you know, whenever you have to end a meeting with, I hope I didn't scare you too much. I go, it's not as hard as it sounds. I was like, please, just trust me. So I gave her links to platform committee meetings from last time, because then she'll really get a handle on the way our committee meetings tend to flow. But anyway, let's now get to the ballot access news. What? Okay, interesting. I don't read these before I come here, as you could. I like to give you my, immediate reaction. It's almost like Cultivar O&R when I'm reading the question to Mike and I'm like, what? Okay, check out this headline. I'm not going to put the heater on. I am getting a little cold, but I'm not going to put the heater on. It says 2022 election returns suggest Electoral College could damage Republicans in 2024. Interesting. So now are the Republicans going to get on the national popular vote bandwagon? By the way, an upcoming show, I just need to do more research for it, is going to be who is the culprit in Alaska. It's not RCV. It's Final Five. Top X anything primaries need to just... I can't say it because I probably get censored from YouTube, and I'm trying to keep this video monetized. Speaking of monetizations, all super chats matter. Alrighty. So I wonder, well, I guess we're going to find out what Richard means by this. I hadn't heard this. This is very, very interesting. It says, never in history, has the Electoral College damaged the Republican Party. I didn't know that either. In 1876, 1888, 2000, and 2016, the Democratic Party presidential nominee won the most popular votes but still lost the presidency. But the 2022 election returns suggest that for the first time in 2024, it might be the Republican Party that is hurt by the Electoral College. Interesting. The vote for the office at the top of the ballot in 2022 and the nation as a whole gives the Republicans more popular votes than the Democrats. This is true whether one considers U.S. Senator to be the topmost office or governor to be that office. But under either calculation, the states in which Republicans have more popular votes than Democrats only have a minority of the electoral vote. States with more Democratic votes than Republican votes have a majority of the Electoral College. If one uses the gubernatorial election in the states which had both a gubernatorial and a Senate election, the total vote for the topmost office in 2022 is Republican 50. God, I just want to round these numbers, but it will ruin the point. 54,214,821. Democratic, 52,689,067. Yet the states with the Republican votes exceeding the Democratic votes only have 258 electoral votes. The states in which the Democrats had the higher popular vote have 280 electoral votes. This could be interesting. If one uses the Senate election for states which had both, I'm not going to... This one's much closer. Oh, damn. You hear the furnace come on? Hold on. I got to turn that puppy off. All right. Furnace is off. So the national total for the topmost office is Republican 53,441,867,000, Democratic 53,425,580. Now that is interesting. That's less than 20,000 votes difference. That's super close. Yet the states with Republican votes exceeding Democratic votes only have 245 electoral votes. The states in which Democrats had the higher popular vote have 293 electoral votes. Interesting. Listen, I'm not a fan of either one. You guys know that. But right now, I think the Democrat policies are far worse. If you want to say that makes me a Republican apologist, I really don't give a flying fig. This country, well, we're already, we are very far down the road to hell. But 4 more years, anyway. Maybe we're going to have some... Here I am, I get delusional, every 4 years I get delusional and think a Libertarian actually has a chance at winning the presidency. But wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, that could save our country. The totals were as of November 27th. At that time, California had 253,134 uncounted votes. No other state had that many. Of course, some states only had either a gubernatorial election or a U.S. Senate election, but not both. Obviously, in those states, whichever office was up is used. It says, for the 6 states that had neither of those offices up, U.S. House is deemed the topmost office. None of those 6 states had any statewide races whatsoever. So when one looks at the ballot in those states, U.S. House is at the top. That paragraph, Richard's not written well. You said the same thing twice. You could have tightened that up. The reason for the anomaly is that in 2022, Democrats tended to carry their states with fairly narrow margins, whereas most of the states in which Republicans won in 2022 had very large margin against the Democratic nominees. Millions of Republican votes were wasted in such states. I've said this before. Any vote above the number needed to win is a wasted vote. So don't give me that wasted vote crap with Libertarians. If you're in a blue state where the Democrats gonna win no matter what, every single vote above the minimum needed to win, those people could have voted for some other candidate that they might have believed in more, be it People's Party, Libertarian Party, Green Party, and not, cause the Republican to win. People really need to understand this. It's just simple mathematics. If it should happen that Democrats win the presidency in 2024, even though the Republican nominee has the most popular votes, it is somewhat likely that both major parties might support a constitutional amendment to alter the Electoral College. We are so screwed. Proportional representation passes in 2 cities. On November 8th, voters in Portland, Oregon, and also in Portland, Maine, interesting, 2 Portlands, just in different states, passed ballot measures for proportional representation for city council elections. The type of proportional representation in both cities is single transferable vote. And as you know, I drank that soda too fast. STV, single transferable vote, is just a variation of RCV for multi-winner races, which results in proportional representation. It sets up multi-member districts and makes it possible for minority points of view to win at least one seat inside such districts. And I'm going to, because I want to know what people think about this, I'm going to veer off here to the LP for a minute, because I was talking with Sylvia about this. Okay, I'm obviously saying this as a person who was on the winning side of a major sweep in Reno. But I try to see things from the point of view of people who were not on that side. And a continuous cycle of this, ping-ponging back and forth, is not going to be healthy for the party. And I'm beginning to come around, and actually more than come around, I am getting very close to strongly favoring. I now mildly favor, but I'm coming close to strongly favoring some sort of proportional representation for the at-large representatives on the LNC. Now, unless we have electronic voting, we can't do STV. There's just no way. We'd be counting for weeks. But what we could do is cumulative voting. And that way blocks of minority voices can get together and pool their votes and make sure that they at least have one at-large representative on the LNC, maybe 2. And I think that's healthier for the party. And again, I say that as somebody who is like on the overwhelmingly winning side, but I think that would be good for the party. And without computerized ballots, STV would be unworkable, but cumulative voting would work. We already use cumulative voting for the platform plank deletion, so we're familiar with the concept. We know how to count it. So I would love to know y'all's thoughts on that, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot. Okay, in Portland, Oregon, Measure 26 passed with 58% of the vote. It sets up 4 districts, with each district electing 3 members. It is possible for a candidate supported by 25% of the voters to win. In Portland, Maine, Question 4 passed with 64% of the vote. It leaves the details of how many districts there will be and how members from each district to the city council. It says, for elections conducted by ranked choice voting where more than one person is to be elected to a single office, the winner shall be determined by a proportional method of ranked choice voting. Such method shall provide for candidates to be elected on the basis of thresholds determined by the number of seats to be filled plus 1, ballots to be counted in rounds, votes to be transferred from defeated candidates. And Richard, you need to run these things through a spell check or have somebody proofread this for you. It's a misspelled word. and for votes, in fractions or in whole, in excess of the threshold to be transferred from elected candidates. When New York City used this system between 1937 and 1945, 6 parties won at least one seat on the city council at least once. Currently, the only city that uses the system in the U.S. is Cambridge, Massachusetts. A bill has been pending in Congress to provide for this system for U.S. House elections, but it only has 8 co-sponsors and has not had a hearing. We need this. There might be an opportunity to push for this in my county. Very slim chance, but I would be absolutely in favor of it. In addition to the measures in those 2 cities, ballot measures for ordinary ranked choice voting, otherwise known as IRV, I added that, passed in Seattle, can't pronounce this, Multnomah County, Oregon, Evanston, Illinois, Fort Collins, Colorado, and Ogea, California. I know I mangled that name. So, yay for RCV. And now the top X people will come in and try to rape it. I cannot describe to you the depth of my loathing for top X. Okay. There's a chart on page 3 that demonstrates all that stuff he said about the Electoral College. He's got a lot of charts in this issue. And then there's voter registration totals on page 4. Let's see what libertarians have. Nationwide, 732,865. Now remember, not all states have partisan registration. And that's 0.60% of the registrations. Let me see here. He has another typo on here. So out of percentages, there are more percentage of registered Democrats. God, that scares the shit out of me. 38.73% registered Democrats. 29.60% registered Republicans. Now, this next number is encouraging. 29% independents. That's a huge number of people that do not like either the Democrats or the Republicans. And I like that number. They need to come over to the LP. Green is 0.19. Constitution's 0.11. Working families is 0.05. Reform doesn't even make it past the second decimal point. And other is 1.72%. Interesting. Okay. Now, on the 5th page is the 2024 presidential petitioning requirements. I am going to keep this pinned to my bulletin board because we are going to need to be very, very aware of this. Now, I thoroughly disagree with Richard Winger here. So looking here, he talks about what parties are already on the ballot. I love Richard Winger, but the Libertarian Party is the affiliates recognized by the National Party. And I do consider it somewhat of a slap in the face. And I would say this right to him, and I love him, that he says for New Mexico already on the ballot. No, that's not the Libertarian Party affiliate, Richard. So if some working families party just decided to call themselves the Libertarian Party and had nothing to do with the National Party and they were on the ballot, would you include them? Maybe you would. Maybe you would be consistent. But that is very, very deceptive, and it should have at least had an asterisk. The least you could have done is put an asterisk down there and said, it's not the recognized affiliate. And it is going to be the subject of litigation. So anyway, forget about that part, because that does kind of burn my biscuits a little bit. But this is his newsletter. He can do what he wants with it, and this is my show. I can correct it. It says the petitioning I'm going to look at that next, Patrick Douglas. I wanted to look at the petitioning requirements for New Mexico. It's only 3,562. That is very doable. We will be on the ballot in New Mexico. The only question is going to be for 2024, what the name of our affiliate's going to be, because who knows how long that's going to take to resolve. So let's look at Massachusetts. He put already on as Libertarian. Not a fan of the way he's working this out here. Okay, well, I think there should have been asterisks there out of respect for the National Party, and I would say that if this was the Constitution Party, no matter what party it was, if there's somebody that's not, if the group has a national committee, and all of them do, you need to at least inform readers that you're including groups that are not recognized and are the subject of active disputes with the National Party. Okay, so, but I'm going to still keep this up on my bulletin board. The data he assembles is invaluable. Oh, God, top 5 passes in Nevada. What a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. Okay. So yeah, let's continue, because I think we can finish the show today rather than splitting it into two, because I got so many other things I want to cover. I might not go through it all. We're going to do the headlines. So top 5 tentatively passes in Nevada. And this makes ballot access more difficult for 2 reasons. The first is minor party candidates won't qualify for governor and senator. And because parties will no longer have nominees, people don't realize that's part of the problem of Top X. Everybody's forced into a primary, and there's no official nominees of parties. It totally abrogates freedom of association. It's just awful. It is awful, awful, awful. And it's just another way for the duopoly to retain power in an even grosser way. Because when you have Top X, if you're in an area that's very heavily one way or another, like if you live in a thoroughly red area and you're a Democrat, you will never have a Democrat on the ballot. Or it's possible. Top 5, you probably would. In a field of 4 Republicans, though. But top 2, and you're a heavily blue or heavily red area, the minority group will never have a candidate on the ballot. You want to talk about voter suppression when somebody that you would want to vote for can't even possibly make the ballot because you're sneaking in a 2-stage election, actual election, not a primary, not for a nominee. It is so dirty. I really need to do a full show on how just absolutely obscene Top X is. It's just bringing our country even further down to ruin. And they're trying to bring that shit into Colorado. We've got some of the best ballot access laws right now for minor parties, and the duopoly can't take it. And they are trying to bring in Top 5 here, and they're trying to marry it to RCV. It is just so disgusting. Should I say how I really feel? Okay, Indiana procedural ballot access win. So this was Green Party of Indiana versus Sullivan, which challenges the number of signatures needed for minor party and independent candidates to 2% of the last vote cast for Secretary of State. Okay, lawsuit news. Interesting. Florida, there was a law that made it a crime for a candidate for nonpartisan office to mention his or her affiliation. That got struck down. In Georgia, the 11th Circuit said Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's lawsuit to stop the state from adjudicating her qualifications is moot because she already went through the process. I don't even know what that's about. In Maine, a district court declined to put the Libertarian Party on the 2024 ballot. Interesting. He had previously struck down the law that defines political party, and he had put the party on the 2022 ballot. When he declined to include 2024, he cited the fact that no Libertarian had run in 2022 in Maine. This is why you have to run. You have to run candidates. My God. I mean, I'm sure there were very good reasons for it. You know, no shade on Maine. This is just heartbreaking. And then it says New Jersey, a state law was upheld that says if a candidate on a primary ballot mentions an individual or group in his or her ballot label, the candidate must get permission from that individual or group. Good. That's called freedom of association. In New York, the Libertarian and Green parties asked the Second Circuit for reconsideration in their ballot access suit. Okay. Let's see here. It says, on November 10th, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, what's this? Published its tentative report on the U.S. elections process. The OSCE Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights observers elections on a regular basis all around the world. I think he meant observes elections. There's a lot of typos in this issue. The report mentions the Georgia ballot access law for U.S. House election, which effectively requires U.S. House candidates to be Republicans or Democrats if they wish to run. The report even has a footnote which links to the cert position in Cohen versus Raffensperger. And yes, that is the Martin Cohen who is on the LNC. All right. We are going to the last page now. FEC finally publishes its 2020 elections returns book. And the No Labels Party became a qualified party in Florida. And only 13 states lack a ballot qualified third party. And which states are these? Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Virginia, and Washington. This is the smallest number of such states just after a midterm election. Okay, let's see here. Currently, the only ballot qualified third party in Minnesota is the Legalize Marijuana Now party. 2022 was bolstered compared to 2018 by the Libertarian Party meeting the vote test laws in Iowa and Maryland, but the party is no longer on in Ohio and Kentucky. And minor party wins. Progressive Vermont elected somebody. Libertarian was elected in Indiana, they mention. Multiple Libertarians. A Libertarian one county attorney of Greene County, Ohio. And several Libertarians won in Kentucky. I wonder why he didn't mention we had a Libertarian win mayor in Colorado. I don't think he was trying to mention everybody. It might be in some future issues. So, whoops, sorry. So that's pretty much it for this one. Yeah, that top whatever, that's gonna be the death of minor parties. At least in running candidates that have a chance. I mean, we obviously still can influence. There's still a purpose, but it's God, the corruption. The corruption is just awful. But anyway, on that happy note, we shall. I'm saying the royal we. There's only one of me here. I shall be saying good night. I have to get ready for the LNC meeting tomorrow. Again, I do hope to see you. And I am planning a future show covering the Alaska fiasco with Final Five. All right, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night. And, I won't have a show on Monday either. That's going to really stink. There's a LPCO meeting. I do go to the monthly LPCO meeting. So, and this is just it's holiday time too, though. So I know that you guys, are probably pretty busy as well. But I always do apologize when I can't stream. All right. Have a good night, everyone. And talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.